June 2025 invites us into a story of return to the body, to the heart, to the sacred language of our emotions. It's a month where the universe gently presses its fingers to our pulse and reminds us to feel, to stay grounded, to listen, and then move. Hello gorgeous, I am Ethereal Mother, your favorite astrologer, psychic, and artist. And if you're curious about how these transits will be affecting you, I am open and available for astrology readings to help you navigate this very emotional era in your life at this time so that you can be better prepared. The link is down below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for being with me here today. And so let's go ahead and get into the month of June 2025. First up, we have Venus entering Taurus on June 6th, which is such a beautiful time because Venus is now gliding, shantaeing into her home sign of Taurus. And you will definitely notice how deeply you crave slow touch, soul-nourishing food, and the pleasure of simply existing. Welcome to the masterclass of how to fully live in the now. This transit is very Empress Tarot card coded, having those moments where you want to just immerse yourself into soft pillows just because. And so this is the perfect time to invest in self-care, invest in some new hobbies, anything that can really just put you in a state of ease. You also might find that you're interested in redecorating to make your space feel more warm and aesthetically pleasing. And don't forget, you can redecorate with any budget. Think about Goodwill, TJ Maxx, Home Goods, and a lot of people sleep on Facebook Marketplace. I cannot tell you how many great things I have found on Facebook Marketplace. I remember I found like a gorgeous African mask because of an estate sale. RIP to that person, but they had excellent taste. Just be very cautious of leaning too far into materialism because that could be a sign that you're trying to cope with whatever's happening internally. If you are interested in finding love, a new relationship, something like that, very Venus, this is a great transit to observe how you function and react in relationships. Like, are you possessive? Does this person cause you anxiety? Are you potentially staying longer than you should in a specific relationship? Do you like, love, or tolerate this person or people? Or are you trying to people please your way into a relationship? A lot of people don't know this, but being a people pleaser is actually a form of manipulation because you're not being your authentic self within that connection. You're trying to be like a chameleon in order to satisfy what you think that this person wants. And that's not fair to yourself, that's not fair to the other person, and that's something that I think definitely you need to reflect on if that is how you operate, you know? And of course there's a lot of nuance to this, but just keep that in mind. And God forbid, no more pick-me's. They are bad for the environment. I cannot handle it anymore. And I've never seen a healthy relationship with a pick-me. I don't think I've ever seen it. Please comment down below if you have a good example because I would love to analyze that, but I've never seen it. It makes me think about this most recent interview with AD and Ashley from Love is Blind and how it's funny because Tyler considered himself a people pleaser. He was a manipulator, like I said, and Ashley was just someone who desperately wanted to be in a relationship to the point where she was ignoring the most vibrant of red flags when it came down to Tyler. So it was just really unfortunate. And I do think that AD is very much like a pick-me as well. I think they both, Ashley and AD, couldn't connect on that level. It was bad. It's a great example. So if you resonate with these examples, you need to call that lady. It will, I'm telling you, it will change your life for the best. It really will. And it's completely possible to be in a relationship with someone and be your authentic and autonomous self, and being able to maintain that, but still understanding that you both are creating or co-creating something really beautiful together. So, and it's fun to see what can kind of come about, you know, y'all's relationship if you both are in the same space where you're willing to grow and evolve. And for Venus, she is very magnetic. So definitely take note of things that you're attracting at this time or something that I think is very interesting is that Venus rules Libra and Taurus. And I've noticed that Libras have a tendency to be very codependent, and they have such a difficult time being alone, which in my opinion is a bit of a red flag, because typically people can use relationships as a way to cope with specific things or escape whatever they're dealing with internally. And it's like, you can't escape from yourself. You know, that's not what relationships are for, or using them to boost your self-esteem or self-worth. And it backfires every time. It really does. And these relationships can be a reflection of what's happening, like I said, internally, but also connecting you to past experiences, maybe things that you witnessed as a child, which will definitely be highlighted when Venus is connecting with Chiron, the wounded healer, in Aries, the intense toddler. And Chiron, you know, is a centaur in mythology. He trained Hercules and a lot of other heroes in mythology. His job is to expose unconscious wounds, like whenever you felt ignored or neglected or dismissed, rejected, traumatized, and anything that you witness as a toddler, Aries, or just in that young, you know, age range, and anything that changed your view of the world and yourself, basically. And then it's like everything is so interconnected. So these little things that you might think that you can kind of bypass or use a relationship, for example, to escape from, it's going to be there. It's always going to be there. And again, these wounds will flare up and get really gross, you know, when you're in these relationships and when you're confronted with something that you have been trying to ignore. And like, for example, this could be a really good time to research attachment styles and the steps to heal them in the best way possible. And Chiron is an asteroid, but it still plays a huge role in our development. So the biggest thing that Chiron and all the other planets this month wants to teach us is to be better than what we've been through. The perfect example of, I think, this transit and kind of what I've been saying is Generous by Duran Bernard. The part that hits me in my chest every single time that I listen to it is he says, "I won't become what I've been through. I'll give all of my love to you. Treat me right in anything I'll do. Never out of the way. It's on my way to you." It's such a beautiful song. I highly recommend highly recommend listen to the whole album. Actually, Bloom, it's a really good body of work. No skips. Next up, we have Mercury entering Cancer on June 8th. Mercury is communication. Cancer is our more intense emotions. So you might find that you might be able to articulate them a lot easier than before. So this is the perfect time for journaling, going to therapy, and just investing in yourself in that capacity when it comes down to mental health. And when it comes down to healing, Cancer represents the mother, your DNA, things that are passed down through those specific lines. And sometimes these traumatic wounds are not our own, these mindsets and things like that. And the benefit of journaling and therapy and things like that is to create those distinctions so that you can actually have a lot more freedom and feel weightless. And these things will become very apparent if you've noticed, I've been here before. I've felt this thing before. I've experienced this type of person, but in a different body. So it's like, definitely pay attention to all these little things. Mercury and Cancer loves traveling and embodies traveling. So I think that it would be cool to go on little baby adventures, like a nice morning walk, maybe along the beach near water, something like that would be really helpful for the mind, body, and spirit. And bringing it back to the mental health comment earlier, I remember watching this video of this teacher who, I think he was like kindergarten teacher, and he talked about how when children hurt themselves, they come to you crying, you ask them what's wrong, they explain it, you give them a band-aid, a little kiss on the hand, and they go back to doing the same reckless shit they were doing before. Because children, just fascinating individuals. And it's such a great example of how our emotional wounds and triggers will kind of flare up. They simply want to be acknowledged. And if you don't know what's happening, what's the root issue of that specific wound and what's going on, you're not going to know, do I need more than a band-aid? Do I just need some hydrogen peroxide? Do I need a specific ointment? Do I need stitches? So that's, again, giving a name to these specific emotions and trying to kind of navigate them in that way to figure out how to heal them will definitely benefit you in the long run. And then again, naming your emotions can bridge the gap between the feelings and the thoughts, shifting from I am this to I am feeling this, kind of highlighting how emotions can be very temporary. So that way you can prevent them from being a personality trait, right? And again, like I said before, journaling can help you keep track of what you're experiencing and also how you're coping with your emotions as well, and exposing your habits, the moon or Cancer, and if these things are helping you with these emotional roller coasters or making it worse. And so Mercury is going to open up this curiosity gap, so that way you can understand yourself better and stop these emotions from draining your energy or keeping you up at night. Next up, we have Jupiter entering Cancer on June 9th. We have the big body bends of our solar system moving into watery emotional Cancer for about a year and a half, giving us the space to expand through emotional truth and ancestral healing as well. Cancer also represents your emotions and the body, so be mindful of what you're feeling at this time, because Jupiter is definitely going to exaggerate and make these feelings a lot bigger than they probably are. Like sadness could feel soul crushing, but when you're calm, it could be a beautiful place to manifest abundance for yourself, because Cancer is like a feminine energy, so it's going to pull in all of your desires. Think about the moon and the tides, Cancer. Also do some research around how certain emotions show up in the body, Cancer. For example, long-term stress, sadness, and anxiety can lead to depression, and depression can cause digestive issues like things with the stomach, Cancer, sleeping problems, chronic illnesses, inflammation, weak immune system, and back pain. And there are also studies that show that suppressing your emotions can increase your chances of getting cancer by cancer by 70%. So this is not a game when it comes down to mental health. This is one of the reasons why I advocate so heavily and intensely for it, because I don't think people understand how all of these things are so interconnected, and it's really fascinating, but also something that I hope that everyone really takes serious, because this is not something that you can continue to bypass anymore. And if a lot of these symptoms resonate, this is a great time to kind of eliminate specific things that could be aggravating these emotions and making them worse, you know, like maybe taking breaks from social media or the news, or fixing your algorithm. And I can definitely foresee specific things in the media that is broadcasted to strategically create an emotional rise out of people. Like, it makes me think about 2020 and how everybody was freaking out and buying toilet paper. Also, quick side note, if something like this does happen, you might want to buy some stock in toilet paper, for example. You know, so I don't know what this intuitive message might be referring to in the future, but Jupiter, abundance, finances, luck, things like that, Cancer being financial security, that could be a window for you. So definitely keep that in mind. I think that Jupiter is a very optimistic sign, and of course, like it can also represent like blind optimism, but I think that there always is like a bit of a silver lining in every situation. So like I said, if something like this were to happen, buy stocks in that thing, because I definitely will, to make you a little bit of money while everybody's freaking the fuck out about some goddamn toilet paper. And again, Jupiter is going to help you look at the bigger picture to make wiser decisions, even though these things are intentionally trying to spike your stress levels. On a different note, Jupiter does represent, like I said, expansion. So if you're trying to get, if you're trying to bulk up or get nice and thick and juicy, this could be the transit for you. So remember to eat a lot of foods that actually nourish you, things that are not overly processed. Cancer also represents memories and family and things like that. So maybe you need to get some family recipes, put your own spin on something, whatever that might look like. Just really craving like home cooked meals. Like, it makes me think of that scene from Ratatouille when the food critic eats the food and he's just like teleported into that specific moment in childhood. Also, we have quite a few planets in Cancer and Aries as well, and these energies are cardinal signs, which means they like to initiate things. But it's hard to do that if you're not properly fueling your body stability with the right stuff. So it's like if you want to create stability, you got to make sure that you're taking care of yourself first. So Cancer season, and all of these planets in Cancer, self-care is definitely going to be a huge focus at this time. So next up we have the full moon in Sagittarius happening on June 11th. And so for the full moon, it's like a flashlight in the dark. It's helping us to uncover truths that have been hidden. And sometimes the truth to specific things is hiding in plain sight. And we are being pushed to confront these things because bypassing trauma and emotional stagnancy and things like that is not going to help you experience authentic expansion and freedom, which is something that Sagittarius loves. You think about a horse, that's, you know. Another message that I had about this full moon is TikTok and how we always get like bite-sized pieces of information. Also, like it's kind of tricky to decipher specific things from real life versus AI, so that's another thing. But again, these bite-sized pieces of information, in Sag, energy has the tendency to be very dogmatic, meaning they'll hear this fact and it's like law. Like it's the truth for them. And it's like, nah, baby, you have to look at the full picture and do your proper research to figure out what this topic is actually talking about. And I feel like a lot of people just kind of love to create discourse online over stupid topics based on this tiny little piece of information. A lot of people do that, and it's really crazy to witness. Like something will happen with a celebrity and all of a sudden you have random people being mental health professionals. And it's like, you clearly have not read a book in a very long time. So I don't know what's going on. So I think that this full moon and during this time is definitely going to shine a light on individuals who are intentionally spreading false information, especially if it's going to impact someone's freedom. But also it is our responsibility to double check people's credentials, Sag, especially if they're like a self-proclaimed guru or a specialist or whatever. It's like we need to look at this a little bit more. And for some reason this reminds me of like the alpha males, the high value men, and all of them, you know, misogynistic individuals. And it's like, if you really think about it, if their advice really worked, they would technically be in happy marriages or relationships or something like that, or a strong sense of confidence or a strong sense of self. But it's interesting whenever I hear like an alpha male be like, I'm an alpha male, it feels like an affirmation. Like you don't fully believe this about yourself, but you're trying to convince yourself that this is what you are. Even though like when it comes down to confidence, it's like it's something that you just embody. You don't have to say it out loud as an affirmation. I just think that's so funny. And like I said before, taking responsibility for researching someone's credentials, it makes me think about like Cam Newton, and a lot of times he gives like relationship advice and stuff like that. But it's very interesting because when he's put in a space with someone who is really intelligent and tries to get him to acknowledge his shortcomings within his relationship or just in general, he needs like 17 compliments before you can give him that one specific critique. And he comes off very like overly confident, but it's like if you observe him, you can see when his insecurities flare up. And it's very interesting to watch for sure, especially when it's conversations about women, money, and things like his popularity is not helping him escape from the inner conflict that he is experiencing. And again, getting relationship advice from someone like him who has consistently voiced his fears around a marriage and divorce and commitment, that is not it. It's just, no, it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. It does not make sense. And I think it's really interesting how people equate, or specifically, no, it's people. I can't say it's just a man thing. How people equate popularity, fame, and money to, I'm doing just fine. Life is great. And again, just check people's credentials. That's all that we really need to focus on right now. And, you know, thinking about like how the education system is being attacked from all angles and stuff. Like it's a very strange times right now. And again, like I mentioned before, Sag is the horse or the centaur. And you think about it, a horse running on the beach, like they're just so carefree and they are having such a beautiful time just running. However, if you see a horse with a carriage, they're not able to move as freely as they want. The carriage representing your emotional baggage. And as much as you try to ignore these issues, they're going to be there. They are you. They are strapped to you. So it's definitely time to ask yourself, Is it time for a new mentor? Is it time for a new therapist, a teacher, or whatever? Or maybe even getting a guru? That is Sag, Jupiter. And it's just like, how badly do you want to live this authentic and freedom-loving life? Next up, we have Mars entering Virgo on June 17th. We have Mars, the planet of action and strategy, linking up with Virgo, productivity, service, and efficiency. Virgo loves to cater to other people, be of service. So I think now it's time for you to focus on yourself, especially with all these planets in Cancer. And like I said before, with Jupiter entering Cancer, ancestral healing is going to be like at the top of everyone's list that they really need to focus on, because again, we're moving into this very new era, and we have to make sure that we're not giving from an empty cup, or we're not like a Cam Newton or a Kevin Samuels giving terrible advice to people. I could also see someone in the media being criticized, Virgo, someone who could be an athlete, Mars, or high ranking in the military, something like that, and then there being like a massive campaign to take this person down. It makes me think of Shannon Sharp. Diddy is already on trial. I am curious to see if he brings other people down with him. I don't know, but I think Shannon Sharp is the most recent example who he was an athlete or whatever. So we shall see who that message was referring to, but that's what I heard. And so Mars in Virgo is going to be sextile Jupiter in Cancer. So because of all this emotional roller coaster-ness things that are kind of happening right now, Virgo is definitely here to help us create a solid routine to navigate these emotional times, to stay grounded. Because when it comes down to healing on a mental, spiritual, emotional, and physical level, all of these memories, Cancer is resurfacing. So it's hard to navigate. It really is. So I do think that Mars can kind of help us navigate Mars and Virgo can help us kind of navigate everything a bit more efficiently, so that way we don't get swallowed up by everything that's kind of happening and resurfacing at this time. And Cancer, or the moon, does represent the people. So like I said beforehand, I could see something in the media being very strategically exposed in order to manipulate people's emotions, to induce anxiety or overthinking, Virgo, like the 2020 example that I gave earlier. I could also see arson, explosions, pums with Mars. Like what I'm seeing is like someone is receiving a shipment of exported goods, and for some reason it explodes, because Trump has not had the best conversations with different foreign entities. So that's kind of what I'm envisioning, which would be interesting to see. Also, I could see an eruption of diseases, Mars and Virgo, that could be very violent, cause inflammation, fevers, digestion issues, Virgo. So if any of these things start to flare up, this is your responsibility to keep your immune system at peak performance. But before you start doing that, make sure that you invest in supplements that will remove intestinal parasites, because they will soak up all the good stuff. And funny enough, Virgo does represent worms in the intestines, crazy enough. But one of my favorite supplements is Paragard by Zahilur. I think that's how you say it. I actually don't know. But I've taken something similar, but it's nice that this isn't a capsule because it's very gross. Para A or Paragard is very gross, but in a supplement, you can it's easy, once a day. And fun fact, so these supplements include clove. So if you remember those photos from like Thanksgiving or whatever from years ago, I want to say like the 60s and 50s, they would always show like a ham and it would have these like black things in it. That's clove. And so what slaves would do at that time is they would slather these hams in honey, put the clove on to kill the parasites, because the honey would attract the parasites, clove would kill them. Done. You wouldn't have to worry about it. But now it's interesting how parasites can affect your health in more ways than one. So taking these supplements or something similar, even if you just want to take clove or black walnut or wormwood on its own individually, that's up to you. But I definitely highly recommend this, especially if we are going to experience another epidemic that is going to affect the immune system. And again, Virgo is so good about identifying a specific issue, even though it's so small, damn near microscopic when it comes down to parasites, for example, and giving you a solution. So there's a lot of situations that you're gonna come across and you're going to have the solution. Mars is going to give you the energy and drive to find that solution and execute it with precision. And it's interesting how Mars in Virgo does represent like surgical precision. So maybe this would be a good time to have a surgery to make sure that there's probably not going to be any issues or complications, but also thinking about surgically removing bullshit from your life when it comes down to your energy field or your algorithm to protect yourself, Mars, from anything creating emotional blockages or burnout. And if you are trying to meet specific goals, Mars, Virgo can help you stay productive and organized, but also remember that rest is productive as well. You think about a car and how if the engine overheats, you're not going nowhere, Mars. You're with that engine overheating, absolutely not. Stay put, stay right there. So again, take breaks. June 20th, we have the sun entering Cancer. Happy birthday to all my Cancer babies. It's officially summertime. And since we already have a lot of planets in Cancer right now, this could be a moment to reconnect with family or heal from specific family dynamics. So again, invest in your emotional well-being, mental health, and all that to stay grounded during this time. You can also benefit from being near water, listening to water like rain, ocean sounds, stuff like that to help you ease the nervous system as well. Even going for like a walk or something like that, because emotions, Cancer is energy in motion. So it's like whatever you can do to kind of release these energies and these emotions from your body, Cancer, is your best bet. It's going to really, really, really benefit you as well. And you can also take a bubble bath. You can make a nice home cooked meal or get somebody else to do it. And you could also see that you might be a lot more like emotionally withdrawn to specific things or people because it could be wasting your energy. You'll definitely notice that during this time, your intuition is definitely going to be intensified, Cancer. So definitely take note of whatever is coming up for you, even if it doesn't make sense in that moment. Like it makes me think of a client recently and how we were setting up her appointment and everything. And so after I got off the phone with her, a specific tarot card image popped up in my mind. And the fact that that tarot card popped up in her actual reading is insane. Like it was so fascinating. So, cause I was like, I already kind of could tell what the reading was gonna be about, but for that to be like an additional confirmation, crazy stuff. And if you want to book a reading, tarot or astrology, the link is down below. Let's get into what's happening at this time for you right now, or what you really need to focus on to experience authentic freedom and expansion. Next up, we have a new moon in Cancer. Yes, another thing in Cancer. Starting June 25th. This new moon will be bringing up any past wounds regarding the family or the mother to be healed. Like I said with a full moon in Sagittarius earlier in the video, it's really, really hard to experience authentic freedom when you have all of this baggage that you are carrying with you. And then if you are moving into like a new era and stuff like that, having the least amount of baggage with you would be good for you. Like if you're moving, there's probably a lot of shit that you're going to throw away in the process of that move. And again, like I said before, with Jupiter and Mercury in Cancer, definitely take time to label specific feelings and emotions and everything that is cropping up for you in order to research how to heal them and how to release them as well. And Cancer is the stomach, so definitely eat you some real good food. Again, I think I said this earlier in the video, it makes me think of that scene from Ratatouille when the food critic eats the food and is teleported back into that specific moment. Memories, Cancer. So again, it's interesting how all of these things are so interconnected, and the smallest thing can trigger specific memories, whether good or bad. And also your eating habits can definitely expose what's happening emotionally. Like if you're eating a lot of chips can release cortisol, which is the stress hormone. So that can be a clear sign of investing your time and energy into other activities to release more stress. And our last transit for June is going to be Mercury entering Leo, June 26th. This is a great transit that is giving us the language to articulate our creative vision or our heart's desire, heart being Leo. And it's perfectly fine if these ideas are not fully formed. We're not aiming for perfection. We are just aiming for consistency and progress. And just embrace this childlike curiosity and wonder and creativity, just creating just to create, despite what people might think. And definitely carving out specific moments in your day to be creative, to do something that really makes your heart sing or that you're really passionate about, and having the courage to sign up for classes and be social. And Leo can definitely enhance your confidence in what you're doing at this time, because it's like, you know in your heart, Leo, that whatever this is it's important for you in whatever capacity. And it could also help heal your inner child as well, especially doing things that you probably did not have the money for as a child, or didn't have the time or the support or encouragement. It's perfect for this. Now, when it comes down to Leo representing like the celebrity, we might find like this celebrities or politicians that could be very dramatic, which could be a sign that they are overcompensating or lying. And Mercury can be a bit of a trickster energy. It makes me think about how Trump has a Leo rising and he is a Gemini ruled by Mercury, so that's very popular trickster in my opinion. Like I mentioned before, how Cam Newton is someone who is confident but needs consistent validation. And when it comes down to people that we might view as a celebrity or as a leader, Mercury is going to again open up this curiosity gap so that we can ask more questions, because we really truly need to get more comfortable with questioning our leaders, despite if they like us or not, or doing research. Like it makes me think about when Trump was talking about tariffs when he was in the process of getting reelected, and people didn't search tariffs until after he got elected. And now everybody's upset and trying to play victim. And it's like, nah, bitch, you voted for that man. If we're having a hard time trusting our leaders because they be on some bullshit, maybe it's time for us to connect with our neighbors, Mercury, to collaborate on substantial ways to make our neighborhoods and stuff better. And a good trait of someone who is a leader is someone who listens to everyone's bold and creative ideas and trying to create a strategy to make sure that we can kind of operate in the same wavelength. And it does help to solidify the loyalty with specific, and it makes me think about how like you have a politician that wants to do something for the education system. Instead of making these blanketed laws and regulations, how about you ask teachers what they need in order to fill those gaps and to efficiently use your resources in the best way possible, so that everybody, it just makes more sense. And it's completely possible for individuals to collaborate within a group without an ego Leo ruining everything. And it makes me think of like Beyonce, who gives credit to everybody who helps her, even the people who bring her bottles of water. Or it makes me think about with Cowboy Carter, and it's like the people who were clapping, it's like they got credit for that. They probably won a Grammy for clapping on the beat in the studio. But anyway, it's just very interesting. But it's like she understands that she has a creative vision. She communicates what she needs to these individuals. And that's why she calls these individuals the beehive, because they all have a job to do and they help her to create this vision that she has in her mind. I think she's just a great example for the criteria that we're looking for in leaders. And because of the way that she moves, it's created a lot of loyalty with people that she's collaborated with in the past. And some traits for like a bad leader is someone who is very ego-driven, dramatic, and stubborn, and consistently needing validation. So it will be interesting to see what new initiatives will kind of come about during this Mercury in Leo. But also it could be just a time to be, like I said before, with the Mercury in Virgo, Mars in Virgo, might need to be a little bit more selfish. You know, just really focus on what you need at this time before you kind of introduce your ideas to the world or to your community or whatever. That's okay. Leo also does represent romance, so this will definitely give you the courage to properly communicate what you need and want in a relationship. Hopefully all these transits in Cancer can kind of help you focus on what's most important right now in these relationships, even if it means having a bit more fun. So I know that was a lot, but June is going to be a very, very interesting month. I'm actually very excited for it. Don't forget to hit up TJ Maxx and all of them to get you some bath bombs or some shit if things get a little too emotionally crazy. But all that to say, I love you, you are loved, you deserve love, and until next time,